you can only dream about winning a treble and becoming champions of England or in the UK, in the Premier League, and winning the Premier League. That was for me a big thing. You know, we had a lot of success with that team. Told me as well, okay, you know, what we do is tomorrow you play, we travel back, you go back to Holland for the week, spend time with your wife and kids in Holland. Next week you come back in on the Monday, and then we start over again. In the morning I got a phone call from the boss, and he said, "Jaap, you're not in the squad." And I said, "Why?" "Yeah, because of all the book and everything. I don't want to put too much attention on you." I said, "Yeah, but if you leave me out, there's going to be even more attention to it." His mentality and his mindset in going for goals, I think it's unbelievable. His physique, his pace is incredible. It makes him a danger, a threat for every defense.
Hello and thank you for joining us once again on Manchester United Legends on Tour. And for this one, because it's a bit special, we've left the grounds of Old Trafford and we've come to city centre Manchester. We're in the #1 Manchester United pub in the world. Not just Greater Manchester, not just Manchester, but the world. This is the Nag's Head. And of course, I want to say thank you to my host, Mr. Sean Brett, for his kind invitation, not only to myself, but to the big Dutchman, the legend, the man that they still sing songs about in the Stretford end, Jaap Stam. Welcome, Jaap.
Thank you. Good to be here.
It's great to have you on behalf of Superstar Speakers. Now, Jaap, when we've been doing these podcasts, just to get a feel for it, we've asked the players, the legends, to give us a bit of background, you know, where you grew up, where you came from, your journey into football, and then we'll come to Man United.
Okay, that's good. Well, I'm obviously come from Holland. I've been born in Kampen. It's a small city in the east of Holland towards the German border. Growing up in a family of 3 sisters, and my dad was a carpenter. So we needed to work hard to get things done. Started playing football when I was like 6 or 7 years old, wearing, old boots. There was no money to get decent boots and everything like back in the time. A lot of people had this, of course, as well. And then, you know, growing into the amateur club where I started playing Das Kampen, growing as a kid, enjoying my time with my friends, of course, playing outside, you know, on the streets. There was no PlayStation or whatsoever to stay inside, to be indoors. So always being outside, and then going into the first team, because when I was young, of course, the academies weren't there yet as they are now. So you needed to do well, get into the first team on a very young age, and then hopefully getting the opportunity to go into professional football. So I went into the first team when I was 16 years old, the amateur team, and then they picked me up when I was 18 years old. My first professional team, Pek Zwolle, was close to my city where I lived, Kampen. And from Zwolle, I started building my career. I went playing for Cambuur, Leeuwarden, you know, second team after a year. They played in the Eredivisie, the highest league in Holland at that time. Played there for 2 seasons. Then I went to Willem II, club in the highest league as well. I played there for 6 months. Then PSV came in. They bought me, and then played for PSV for 3 years, a little bit over 3 years. Made big steps, I think, in Eindhoven at PSV, you know, getting into the national team, getting awarded best player of the league of Holland. And then, of course, you know, then at PSV, there's the choice that you sometimes need to make. You know, do you want to go abroad? Do you want to go and make that next step, which I wanted to do? And then there was a tiny club paying interest, and then I said, well, let's do that. Let's take the offer.
What's it like when that call comes, though? You know, and how does it work? Did you have an agent? Was it a direct sort of call from somebody else that you knew? You know, how did that work?
No, my agent phoned me, and already the season before I went to United, my agent phoned me, and he told me that there was interest from a club in the UK. And I said, well, what team is it? I said, yeah, it's quite a big club as well. I said, well, Manchester United. I said, that's a big choice that I need to make, because I just signed a new deal as well in Eindhoven before that, because everything was going well. They upgraded my contract, and I wasn't ready at that time yet to leave as well. So I I made the choice then to stay in Holland, and I said, okay, I'm very tempted to go, and very honored as well that I get the opportunity to maybe go over there at that time. But I felt I wasn't ready yet in Holland. I wanted to establish myself more and more to become an even better player, and then hopefully get another chance to make that step going into the Premier League. And then for me, it was wonderful that Sir Alex and his brother, of course, as well, did a lot of work for him. Martin, yeah, they kept following me as well the next season and almost every game. And in training sessions as well. So when I played bad or in the training sessions, they knew me as well in my mentality as well. Because nowadays you hear that, okay, if a player plays well, okay, we're going to take him, and if he's playing bad, then they say, no, he didn't do well, so we're not going to take him. So they followed me throughout that season, which was very good for me as well, and they got to know me very well by doing so as well. So I was of course happy, because I knew as well after that first season that they showed interest, there was a big chance that they might go for somebody else, and they're not coming back to me. But they kept holding tabs on me and talking to my agent, and eventually I got the chance to join them, of course, which made me very happy. There was a lot of things going on about the transfer fee, of course, because PSV, they asked a lot of money. Because after I signed a new deal, 6 months later, I said to them, I knocked on the door, I want to go because now I'm ready. And they said, yeah, well, that's hard to believe. After 6 months, you can't go. But sometimes as a player, you've got that feeling, certain things, at certain times, you're feeling that you're not ready yet. But then, when you're feeling comfortable, everything's going well, yeah, you're growing as a human being and also as a player, and then you're ready to make that next step. So eventually, I told them that I wanted to go, but then they say, yeah, okay, you can go, or we let you leave, but then you need to give away your percentages from your contract. You're not allowed to give that, so I needed to give everything away myself as well to eventually and made that step to United. But I wouldn't have missed it for the world, because it was one of the best decisions in my life.
I just want to add at this point that obviously we're in the city centre, Manchester, and of course we've got all the sound effects that go with that as well. We've got the street cleaners, we've got the cleaners in the pub. So if you hear anything in the background while you're listening to the great man, you'll know what's happening. We are in city centre Manchester, as I said at the beginning, at the Nag's Head. So when you take that giant step, you're leaving the country of your birth, you're joining Manchester United. How does that all work? Yeah, but I mean, we're going back, the sort of late 90s as such. And
yeah.
How does that work? How's everything arranged for you?
Well, everything was very well arranged, because I think United did very well. They helped me with everything. First, when you make that step, our first kid needed to be born, Lisa, our oldest one now, of course. So my wife was pregnant at that time as well. So we needed to make a decision as well to induce as well the birth as well. So I was there because in pre-season we went to Norway. I joined them after the World Cup, because we played with Holland in France, of course, in the World Cup. Then we went to the third and fourth place. So I could join the team a little bit later in Norway. But we needed to make an appointment with the hospital as well and the doctor, if it was possible to induce the pregnancy, so I could be there.
Wow.
With the birth of our oldest daughter, of Lisa. So we did that straight after the World Cup. Everything was safe, everything could be done. So of course we were very happy with that. And then I was after the World Cup, I was at home for 10 days. Lisa was born, was there a couple of days. Then I needed to fly off to Norway, training camp. I don't know how long we were there, maybe 10 to 2 weeks or something like that in Norway. Then the boss told me, from Norway, go back to Holland, stay there for a couple of days, again, and then come back to Manchester. So we did that, which was nice. But my wife and the child were not able to travel yet, so they needed to stay in Holland. So I was staying in Montreal, the hotel, for like a couple of months, because we didn't have a house yet. And they helped me out, to get a house and to sort everything. And then I went to pre-season, a lot on the phone, of course, with home. Eventually, my wife came over with a child as well. Then we stayed together in Montreal because we needed to get a house, to find a house and to get everything ready. And there was the start of the season as well. And I still had that tag of most expensive defender and above my head as well. So I needed to do well and to perform, and then I felt that pressure for myself as well, while everybody within the team and within the club and the manager, everybody was very happy that of course that I joined the club. But it didn't make it easier for myself. So sometimes I need to be honest here as well. Sometimes I've been in the hotel as well and standing there in the room, going back after a game and thinking, okay, what have I done? Did I make the right choice to come over, sit here by myself? And I had a comfortable life in Holland.
Yeah.
But that's also I think the personality that I am. Then you always want to make that next step. I was always looking for making progress and winning trophies and doing well and also getting into a new experience, because I think it's life changing as well. From Holland, going to a different country, learning the language. It is in certain ways similar, but different culture. Learning.
Could you speak English?
I could speak English because we get English in school, but to have a conversation in English, and of course coming over here, and sometimes you need to speak, especially in the beginning, Nicky Butt or whatever. Then sometimes there's a little bit of that dialect as well. You're thinking, what's he saying?
Sorry, Nicky.
Yeah, no, because Nicky's a great guy.
Yeah.
So you're thinking that you can speak English when you come over, but in real life, when you're over here, it's totally different, isn't it?
And then Sir Alex, And
then Sir Alex, I had that problem with him when he was on the phone sometimes when I was in Holland, and he phoned me. So because eventually he phoned me a lot of games that we played after the game. He phoned me. I was at home, and then I knew he was going to phone. So I always told my wife, I said, Alice, you pick up the phone when it rang, because I needed to find a safe place to get focused on the conversation as well.
Wow.
So I went upstairs, sit in the bathroom basically, and then Alice, my wife, picked up the phone and then said, yeah, telephone, who is it? Yeah, you know who it is. And then it's the manager, and I really needed to focus.
So
Sir Alex was
quiet, son, you after you've played for PSV.
Yeah.
Talk about the game.
Yeah, to talk about the game, how I was, how it went, and everything. And I think that's a good way, to of course keep in touch and stay interested, and try to get that feeling for myself as well, to make that step to United.
You must have felt very wanted.
Oh yeah, I did from the start. But I think that's important, and then sometimes you phone my agent, but they showed interest, and they showed that they cared, and that they wanted me to play for United, which I think for a player is a very good thing to do, and there's been a lot of talks as well, and nowadays as well, that as a club you cannot have contact with players, of course, as well, but I think it's good for a manager, to show interest yourself to a player, that the player is wanted, and that you really want to have him within your team, because you're thinking he can maybe contribute to your to the performances that you want to have.
So you walk into that changing room, these sort of serial winners at this stage,
Mm-hmm.
Who's in there? Who did make first contact with on an eye-line point of view?
I think because we were in Norway, Jordi Cruyff was there as well. So I knew him from the national team, and that made it a little bit easier as well. So I went into the hotel. I think it was after dinner time. Everybody was having a rest, after the morning session probably. So I was there. Albert picked me up. The kit man Albert picked me up from the airport, and he's how do you say, a trustee from Sir Alex as well,
a lieutenant.
A lieutenant as well. So he picked me up, and then we were in the van, and he was looking at me like all the time, and I was like, what the fuck? This guy's looking at me all the time. He's like watching me and how I'm acting or whatever as well. And afterwards, when things I like, coming together as well, and he's watching. And Albert, of course, and I have a great relationship with him. He's a great guy. And he was a great person to work with as well, but he knows as well. He knows people as well, and he can read people as well. And he's always see him scanning around and looking at people and seeing how they act and what they're doing.
Character, isn't it?
Yeah, and he was doing that as well. So and then we arrived at the hotel. So I met up with Sir Alex. I went and met up with the people, the rest of the people within the staff, of course. And then it was going into the room, waiting, to go to the training field, to the pitch, to get acquainted to everybody. And then when I got there, you shake hands, and then you just go into training sessions, and then from there on, you get acquainted, you get tested a little bit in training sessions, Keeny pinging balls at you, and then trying to see how you react and doing things and making comments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that's good, and that's how it grew, more or less.
Yeah. So when we look at that team, and we look at the sort of formidable lineup that was there, who would you say were, maybe not just from that team, but who would you say were the three best players you played with at United?
In United, well, that's a difficult one because I think we had a great team. It was a very good side, and Sir Alex, and I think that's one of his strengths as well, Sir Alex, in building a team and getting the right characters and personality within the team. So they could perform. So everybody had quality, of course, but there's always players like Roy, like Scholesy. Scholesy was a hell of a player, very good player. Well, Keeney, of course. Then, like I said, Roy, Giggsy, of course. Very good player. Andy as well. And for me, it was, and that's a good thing. That's why you're making that next step as well abroad to go to a different level, because in Holland the league is totally different. You get a couple of big clubs. The quality of these big clubs is a lot more than, with all the respect, the other clubs within the league, and then going to a very big club in the world like United, having these players, seeing that quality. For me, it was like starting from scratch, from zero again, and trying to find your way and improving yourself again to the other players that you're up for the test as well, and also getting tested in a positive way, by getting done at times as well, because the players that you're then playing and training with are a lot more clever than I've had, in PSV, and that's a good thing as well. And then you can see your level as well, and that makes you better as well, playing against these players in training sessions. And there weren't a lot of course, teams in the Premier League who had that quality in their squad. Yeah.
What would you say your highlights were at Manchester United? I mean, there were many.
Yeah, there were many, of course, because you can only dream about winning a treble.
Yeah.
When you arrive, for me, it was important, going to United, establish myself at first, showing that I belong there, and I belong in the team, and I can have an impact, and then hopefully, and I find that important, going to a team as well, winning the league and becoming champions of England or in the UK, and in the Premier League, and winning the Premier League. That was for me a big thing. And,
I mean, they did it 3 times.
And I did it 3 times, but it's certain things you can, like you're saying it yourself, we had a lot of success with that team, and from the start, you can see within that team that everybody wanted to work very hard to get things done, to prove themselves. The real mentality. If somebody was not doing that job, people would tell you, and the manager, of course, was there on top of us to tell us, because he was very, very close on top of us, of course, and knowing what we needed to do. But the players did that themselves as well, because the manager from the sidelines cannot reach all the players, of course, when there's a big crowd. So if I didn't do my job right, then there was players around me who let me know what I needed to do, and to make better choices. And that kept you on your toes. That kept us on our toes, and that's why, together with the quality that we had, I think that made us the team, to win all these trophies. And I think that's what you need to have in the squad.
Who would you say were the biggest influences in your football career? I mean, does it go back to being a kid, or is it through people that you met during your football life?
The biggest influence I have, I think, were my parents, of course, as well, my mom and dad. Because they were very down to earth. Like I said in the beginning, they always needed to work very hard to get things done, and that's how we've been grown up as well. To first work hard, get some savings. If you want something, have savings, and then you're allowed to spend it. But spend it well and wise, and not on stupid things. And that was our mentality, and that's what I and my wife and myself as well are trying to bring into our kids as well, and tell them as well. Now you need to act in life as well. So they were very important for me. Then in the beginning of my career going into professional football, I had Theo de Jong. He was an ex-professional player in Holland national team as well, and he learned me certain details about defending in the beginning of my career, which is good, because from the amateurs going into the highest league in Holland within 2 seasons was a big step. And then in the beginning, you see, okay, you get done a couple of times, and you need to make certain steps or to make it easy for yourself. So he gave me in the beginning of my career a couple of pointers that made it easier for me. Well, and then it's up to yourself as well, I think, as a player. Of course, you're meeting or you're working with a lot of managers, different managers as well, but it's not always that these managers make you a better player. It's also, as a player yourself, you need to know yourself as well, what you have done wrong and what you need to do better. And I always say, and after my career, they've asked me the question, did you enjoy your career? I said, well, I hardly enjoyed my career because I was always working on improvement. I was always thinking about doing better next time, even towards the end of my career. I need every game I went into, I need to play well, I need to do well for myself, but I want to have a result as well. If I made one mistake, I was, well, my family wasn't too happy for the rest of the week with me because I felt I needed to do better next time. So that's how I went into the games, but I think it's about your own personality that you need to improve as well. And when I went from Holland to the UK and I worked with Sir Alex, and I think I learned a lot from him as well, in management, in how, as a manager, how you manage a team, not only tactics but also man management to players, how you need to do that, giving confidence to players, but also knowing and feeling how a player is feeling at a time, and also giving him rest at a time as well. It doesn't matter what time, because Sir Alex, I remember a time as well, we played a lot of games, and I played the majority of games, and we had a Champions League game against Bordeaux away. And he called me. We arrived. We had lunch. After lunch, he said, "Yeah, come over here. I want to talk to you." I said, "Yeah, what's up?" He told me, "Yeah, you look a little bit tired." And I said, "Yeah, well, I feel tired. I played every game, and so I didn't have a lot of rest." Yeah, and he said he told me as well. Okay, what we do is tomorrow you play, we travel back. You go back to Holland for the week. Spend time with your wife and kids in Holland. Next week you come back in on the Monday, and then we start over again. So, and it was in the middle of the season.
Wow. So,
but that's as a manager, you can do that.
Yeah.
And you feel that, and it's not because of a player comes to you and says, "I'm not able, Gaffer, I'm tired. Can I have a rest?" No, he just comes to you and he sees it. His observation. That's why I'm talking about people. Observe, and it's very good. And he's looking at the players. And giving them advice, but also seeing what he needs at that time, which is very good, and that helps you, coming back fresh. But it also does something with you mentally for your manager as well, and because it also does something and say, okay, he's really a good manager because he sees what I need. He's given me the time to recuperate, to get back in, to get fresh. So you're willing to work hard for this person as well. Mm. So, and I think that's a great thing. And with him as a manager, in the difficult period that I had with United in the beginning, because of being the most expensive defender, people expecting a lot from you, and in the beginning, not really succeeding yet, trying to find your way, and a lot of criticism at that time in the beginning as well, by him, giving me the confidence and everything. It helps you as well to become a better person as well.
When you look at the changing room, a couple of questions on the back of that. Who are the characters in there? Who are the sort of comedians? And who would you say was sort of the scruffiest, the untidiest?
Scruffiest? What do you mean by scruffiest?
Well, just, uncouth, not like Bex, all polished and smart, untidiest.
I think comedians are like, comedians, we talk about comedians, but players who are like always want to make fun.
Yeah.
And get things going is probably Nicky Butt and Giggsy.
Well, they're a bit of a double act.
Well, yeah, these two are always in my imagination. What I can remember from that time, they were always together. If one started off like Giggsy or whatever, then Butt would join in. And then, of course, so everybody else was, of course, and then it was going off.
Yeah.
And the other way around as well. So, and I think that's what you need as well, because, we within the dressing room with us as well, everybody was serious and working as well, but there was fun as well.
Yeah.
We had some great things going on, and, with that team as well, and going out and enjoying ourselves as well. And then Nicky and Giggsy were very important in doing so and organising as well. Together, of course, with Gary as well, because Gary and Phil Neville, of course, were there as well, and we all know them, and how they like to do and what they're doing. So that was great fun. If you're talking about scruffiest, I don't know. Scruffy is that's a hard one. To
Tidy, you know, don't always leaving a mess.
well,
Who was your roommate?
I don't know if there was one leaving a mess. You know, I can mention maybe, but he wasn't leaving a mess. You know, he was just himself. I think in doing things and you know being himself but doing very well was David May. You know, Messi was a great guy. You know, and he was not like untidy or making a mess, but he was. You know, he was the type of player that, you know, came in, you know, get into the locker room, get changed in his jeans or tracksuit or whatever, you know, coming in, be ready, doing the job, you know, and talking about, you know, being a comedian and being funny. David was a player that was very funny. He was always in dry humor as well in his comments and, you know, he still is, you know, it's great always to meet up and doing things with him as well. He's a really funny guy. You know, so he was very important in doing so as well.
Yeah. I think we're doing one in hotel football in a few months' time, actually, yourself and David May. So
oh yeah.
something to look forward to.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
get the plug
it is. So I need to be easy over here, you know, now in what I say about him. No, but Messi was a great guy, you know, and I don't think there was one who was always like scruffy, you know. If there was things lying around, there was Raymond van der Gaal picking things up and putting it into his locker room. Because a lot of goalkeepers are the same thing, you know, when they get some freebies, they always want to have it, you know, they stuff it into the locker room. Everything was piled up over there within Raymond's room, his locker room, so it's his locker, yeah.
I remember that when I speak to him.
Yeah.
Let's look at 99.
Yeah.
Right, because obviously you said there before, you know, to win the league, to win a cup, but to do the treble. So let's look at, you know, the Premier League and the FA Cup are already sorted. You've won them, and now you're going for the you know, the Holy Grail, if you like.
Yeah.
So talk us about what you do remember on that night and towards the sort of clock ticking down and you're losing. I mean, can you remember any of that? Were you in a position
during the game?
Yeah.
I remember we were having a very difficult time because I think Bayern was the team that they played better. They had a better performance. We missed a couple of players, of course, you know, Scholzi, Roy, who are very important for us. The other players who stepped in, you know, they've done a great job for us, but Roy and Scholzi and everybody knows that they were, of course, tremendous for us in how they perform. And in this particular game, yeah, we were not struggling, but we were having a very hard time, difficult time, getting behind quite early into the game. We were working hard trying to get that goal, but we didn't, in my recollection, we didn't create a lot of opportunities. Second now being a bit lucky as well, you know, they hit the post and I think the crossbar as well once. But the main thing for us was, and we've shown that in the games before in the Champions League as well, that we always kept on going, and that was within the league as well. And that was a very, very strong thing from this team as well, that we always kept on pushing, working hard, because we knew that there was always going to be this moment that we're going to have that opportunity to score a goal, and that's what happened in that goal. Because I remember, you know, from the last 15 minutes, you know, we were playing, going up higher up on the pitch, looking at the score, but looking at the clock, like, you know, 75 minutes, 80 minutes, 85, thinking, okay, are we still going to be doing this? But we kept on pushing. And you see that Bayern at that time, you know, what happens in football as well, they were like defending that lead, dropping in more and more, a little bit more as well. And then, of course, Sir Alex, we made the changes, of course, up front with Ollie and Teddy, bringing them in. And you know, they weren't happy by not always starting, but they always and they always showed quality, and they always scored goals as well. And then when we scored that first goal, it was unbelievable. It was like, it was really a really crazy feeling that we scored the best moments. Well, it was one of the best moments, yeah, of course, you know, at that time, because then you can see as well that that Bayern were broken. Yeah. Because they were hanging in there, you know, in defending. They were looking at the clock as well. Okay, let it go, you know, extra time. Okay, you know, referee, is it time? You know, we kept on going, and then we scored, of course, you know, and they were like lying on the floor, lying on the ground, on the grass, you know, beaten more or less. And normally you would think that, okay, now we're going to go for extra time, you know, we just like, okay, take it easy. But we always thought, you know, and we thought during the game as well, like, okay, just keep on going, because they're done now. let's try to give it another shot, and then hopefully we get a second one. That's what happened as well. So it's crazy.
Yeah.
And if you're looking at the game, and if you're realistic, and you're saying, okay, in terms of possession, opportunity, Bayern maybe deserved it, but in finals, it's all about being resilient and keep on going, and nerves and your mentality are very important as well. Not only with us in keeping it going, but also with the other team who's taking the lead in defending that lead. And then we won, and that was an amazing feeling.
Yeah.
You don't think anymore about what happened. Then everything comes out.
Yeah.
The whole stress, the pressure from these last 10 days, these important 10 days. We've been working so hard throughout the whole season to get there. For these 10 days, we could lose everything as well. Yeah. And then winning the treble, it was amazing. It was really, really crazy. And for myself as well. That season, stepping into the club, trying to establish yourself, winning that trophy as well, and it's to be honest, I've never thought about winning the Champions League that season. It didn't from the start. It never was in my mind to even think about that. Because you're fully focused on doing well for your new club, and then hopefully winning a trophy in that season, and then you win everything, which is quite astonishing, to be honest.
Jaap, it's quite surreal being here in the Nag's Head, because obviously we've got some construction work going on, and every now and again a cleaning truck keeps passing by the window. He stops, he keeps looking in at you. And
is he looking in?
Yeah. I think he's done it 3 times now. He just stops the truck here and looks in through the window. So we'll have to give him the thumbs up next time.
Next time we're going to be having a wave at him.
Yeah, I don't think you can believe that it's whatever time it is in the morning in the city centre of Manchester, looking through the window of the Nag's Head and seeing Jaap Stam somewhere.
I think he's fought in the press now, and he take his numbers like already having a pint in the pub in the morning at 9:30.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And, like I say, he's not done it once or twice. He's done it 3 times.
All right.
So I want to move on now and talk about your overall time at United, and then let's chat about the book. How did that come about, and the repercussions of the book?
Yeah, the book was a nightmare, to be honest. Well, in how things went, it was because there was a journalist. We had contact with him throughout my agent as well, and he wanted. It's not an autobiography, because a lot of people say it's an autobiography, but it isn't. They just wanted to write a book about the inside of the United team a little bit, how we are as a team, in the dressing room as well, and how we're doing, and give a little bit of inside information about how things are going at United. But then the book came out, and I didn't think it was quite shocking in the things that were in the book, and there wasn't, to be honest. But they sell the rights to the papers, of course, and I think it was the Mirror, I believe. And we when it was published in the paper, in the Mirror, we played with a national team in London at Spurs Stadium against England. So on the Monday, I believe it was, on the Sunday evening, we had a concert of U2, and on the Monday morning, I needed to meet up with the team in London, and I could miss 1 or 2 things, but I think this is almost how it happened. And then the Monday morning, my wife said, "I'm going to get the paper," because we knew things were going to be printed into the paper. So she bought the paper. So we opened the paper straight away, and there were some headlines on there, and I was like, they were starting to sweat straight away. So I said, "What's going on over here?" So the pieces of the book, as of course small letters, and then the headlines, you don't control them. They can make up whatever they want. So, and me coming over from Holland, seeing this, I was like totally shocked, because that was never my intention to do so. So I phoned Sir Alex at a time straight away, in the morning. I said, "Boss, listen up. There's this in the paper, and I'm not happy with it. I don't know how it goes, but it's, if you read the book, it's not how it is in there. What the headlines say." So he told me as well, "Don't worry about it." And this is how it goes. I had it with my book as well, he said, and within a couple of days, it's quarter under the bridge. It's over. So don't worry too much about it. So I said, okay, that's at least that's good. That's a positive thing. So then I went to the training camp in London with the national team, and then the next morning, I woke up. I read the papers again, and I was like, "Fucking hell, what's going on here?" So I was like going fucking mad. I was going crazy, I'm not thinking about the game anymore. Just like thinking, okay, what the hell's going on here? What's in this paper? Things being said about Fergie teaching us to dive, and things about Michael Owen and stuff like that as well. And I'm thinking that's not how it is. It's not, if you read it, it's not how it is, and what it said in the book. And then I think on the day of the game or the day before, I got a phone call from Fergie's secretary, and that the manager wanted to speak to me. So I was like, oh fuck me. So I was like this, and then I was on the phone with him, and I can almost like talking about hair dryers, hearing through the phone, and he was telling me what you said, and what's going on and this, and you do not say things about. I said, but boss, we spoke about it. It's not, if you read the book, it's not how it is, and I don't care about it. It's not how it is. It's they made it up, and I don't care, and whatever. So we hang up, and I was totally, I was gone. I needed to play this game for the national team, and I played, but my head wasn't there. So I said to my wife after the game, I said, tomorrow morning I'm going to go straight to the boss. So the next morning on Thursday, after the game on Wednesday, I drove back to Manchester. I think on the Thursday morning, I went to the boss, went to his office 8 in the morning straight away. Get on bollocking over there as well. And I said, and after I said, okay, that's me done. I'm going back home. So I drove back home. My agent phoned me then in the car, and he said, "Where are you?" I said to him, "Well, I spoke to the manager. I'm on my back home. The conversation wasn't well, so I'm going to go back home." They said, "Yeah, well, listen to me. They had a conversation. They've already sold you more or less. They've accepted an offer." I said, "What are you saying?" He said, "Yeah, because there was a meeting in Monaco at that time with all the team playing in the Champions League, and there was Lazio made an offer for United over there, and they accepted the offer over there." So I hang up. Sir Alex phoned me straight away. He said, "Where are you?" I said, "Well, I'm in the car. I'm going back home." "Where are you?" "Yeah, I'm near Tesco's there. The train." So you go up to Wilmslow, over there. I said, "Wait for me over there." So we met up over there, stepped into my car, and told me that there's a club who showed interest. They accepted the offer, and then more or less they sold me, and I just signed a new deal at that time. So after a couple of years doing well, winning trophies, I had the injury, of course, with the Achilles tendon. They accepted it, and he said, "Yeah, I'm going to be playing with Wes," and they brought a new centre back in. I said, "Well, what was the centre back?" He says, "It's Laurent Blanc." He said, because he came in and on a free. I said, "Yeah, but I need to know the club." But at first he didn't want to say. And then he said, "Yeah, no, it's Lazio Rome." But I said, "Yeah, but I'm not sure if I want to go to Italy at that time, because I always said I don't want to go." In the book, there was something about the Italians as well. Then they used it after that as well, so you get done in two ways. So I said, well, let's see. But the thing is that at that time, the relationship at that time between us is then, it wasn't anymore in how it was. If at that time they said, because we had a meeting before with a group of players, and I was in there as well. I don't know how you call it. Is it sort of a committee? It's like 4 or 5 players.
Yeah, like a committee.
Yeah, and we spoke occasionally to the board, and then they tell you something about they told us something about the club, how everything went with the club, and we say something about the team, give them some information, and they mentioned that there was like a gap in the budget a little bit as well. And then I remember us making jokes about that as well after, about making comments about, "Oh, well, then you sell one of us, then it's done. There's no problem about it." And and they were laughing, of course, at that time as well. But you never realize that it can become the reality. And then it happened, and then because of the relationship, then at that time there was something cracked, more or less. I made a decision to leave and say, okay, that's me done, because Sir Alex knew as well, he knew my mentality that I wasn't going to be on the bench. I wasn't going to be sitting on the bench waiting for a moment to play, and that's why I find it quite interesting and also good maybe for certain players even now, stick to their plan and staying on the bench and then waiting for their moment. If I couldn't do that. I couldn't be sitting and waiting and see others play, and with all due respect, players that I think they weren't better than me. And I knew that eventually I would come into the team as well. But at that time, I wanted to play. I wanted to play first team football every week. I wanted to play Champions League. That's why I made the decision to go to Lazio as well straight away, because there were other teams interested as well, but they wanted to wait a bit longer because of the fee and everything. But I said, no, I just wanted to go straight away. And then it was done within a week or so? Because we played, went to Sir Alex, they made the decision. I think in the weekend we played Blackburn away, I believe. And then in the morning I got a phone call from the boss, and he said, Jaap, you're not in the squad. And I said, why? Yeah, because of all the book and everything. I don't want to put too much attention on you. I said, yeah, but if you leave me out, there's going to be even more attention to it. So, and then I wasn't in the squad, and then I think within those couple of days it was done. It was arranged.
Would you class that as one of your biggest disappointments in a brilliant football career?
Yeah, it was, because I just signed a new contract, and I loved United. I still do, and I was looking for playing for United for a long time. If I was staying fit and healthy, and of course keep performing as well. So there was never any intention for myself of leaving and going somewhere else, especially Italy at that time.
Yeah.
But then you can see and as well that afterwards, when you go into management yourself as well, that certain decisions need to be made, and I understand that, and I can understand that sometimes, that sometimes maybe you need to get rid of a player, or you need to sell a player because of the circumstances that the club is in. But then be straightforward, and just come to the player and say, this is happening. We need to sell a player. There's been an offer. We can make a profit, still make a profit. You've been here for so many seasons. You've done well. You've been winning all the trophies, and we can't refuse this offer. Then I can still be not happy, but at least you're honest about the situation. And now you hear everything afterwards. And of course, afterwards, Sir Alex, he told that it was one of his big mistakes, and that's good as well. And they wrote me a letter as well and everything afterwards. But it's done.
Yeah.
And you need to find your way again. And when I went to Italy, when I went to Lazio, I was becoming an even better player in Italy, I think, because you get more experience within the years as well. Also, again, learning a different culture, different language, Italian, playing again with different players. So it makes you a better player in general, but also as a person, you become wiser in doing things, which is what I like, what we like as a family with my wife as well. And then afterwards you always meet up, which happened with us as well, because when I went back after my career in Italy, I went back to Holland, to Ajax, and then I met up with United playing the Amsterdam tournament in pre-season. And that was what everybody thought, this is going to be fireworks, because it was the first time me speaking with Sir Alex again, because we played with United, or with Milan, we played against United for the Champions League. Yeah. But I never spoke to Sir Alex at that time.
Intentionally?
Intentionally, no, and then with the tournament, because the day before the tournament, there was always a press conference.
Yeah.
And then it's the coach and the captain of the teams who are like joining up in this press conference. And of course, Sir Alex was there with, I don't know, maybe Scholesy. I don't know who was captain at that time of United. Maybe Roy at that time still. But and I was there, of course, with my manager at that time with Ajax. So everybody was, when we came in the hotel, everybody was looking at us like thinking, okay, do we need to step in there? Do we need to jump in there? Is it? is this going to be a big, enormous clash? You know, but then you know, and of course the questions in that press conference was about, okay, you know, the things that we had at United and us parting ways and how it was now. And then after so many years, you know, I had at that time also tremendous respect for Sir Alex, because, you know, he gave me a big career. I learned a lot from him as a person as well. And you know, in the situation and what happened, of course, I wasn't happy with that and how the things went. But I still have a lot of respect for Sir Alex. So we spoke in this press conference afterwards a bit as well, and you can see, I think, with him at that time as well, that he was happy. I think that how things went in that day, and for myself, it was important as well. And up till now, to be honest, you know, we have a good bond. We still meet up at the ground. We still speak. Now when I have a glass of wine, and you know. Give me advice, you know, when I was managing as well, when we met up. So no, still a great person.
I mean, that's a nice segue, because obviously, as you've said yourself, you've had this fantastic career where you played for PSV, United, Lazio, Milan, Ajax. Did you always want to be a manager?
No, never. No. I never wanted to be a manager, because I was thinking, I'm not going to be a manager, you know, listening to players who, like, you know, they're always complaining and you know, the socks are not right and this is not right and they need an extra towel and you know, problems at home, of course, as well, which is not always easy for a manager to handle. Always thinking they know better as well as a player, you know. So I thought, you know, I'm not going to do this because it's going to be tough. It's going to be a hard life, and you know, at the end of my career, I was thinking, you know, I'm trying to do something totally different than football. But when I stopped playing football for Ajax. In that year, I said, the first year I'm not going to do anything, spend time with the family and kids, and then we'll see what I wanted to do. But in that year, you get so many people asking you to do things, you know, television work, punditry. Other stuff, and there was my team where I started to play professional football, Zwolle, Pik Zwolle. Yeah. They had troubles over there and problems with the manager, with the team, and wasn't going very well. And they said, Jaap, can you like help us out a bit? Do you want to train maybe once or twice with us, you know, in the afternoon, and then maybe help the players out like individually? And then, you know, hopefully that will help us out, and the manager there as well. And I said, well, yeah, I would like to do that so I can still play a little bit as well, you know, and have a good feeling, you know, after my career as well. So I did that, and I trained with the team, and I give them advice and instructions and individual, and sometimes, you know, with the back four or back five, and sometimes a little bit of a bigger group. And it was, of course, for me, it was an eye-opener, but it was totally different, because now, as an ex-player, you need to stand in front of a group, and you need to talk to a group and address them and tell them what you want to see and how they need to do things. And you need to get, I've never done that. So it was all new. So you need to find your way in doing so. But eventually, after a while, players became very happy with me doing so. And very happy, and the manager at that time as well. So, I started doing my badges, and from being an individual coach, you're starting to coach bigger groups of the team, doing small bits of training sessions, and eventually doing the under 23s, and then become the assistant manager, you know. And then you need to make that decision for yourself. But then do you want to still be the assistant, and then, you know, you cannot make your own decisions, so you always need to follow the manager, or do you want to make up your own decision? And I said, we're working with the manager. Being on the pitch as well, and trying to create your own way of thinking, philosophy of football. I thought by myself, but I'm thinking differently than this manager. I would have done things different also from my past as a player, and how certain managers treated me as well. Not always good, but also the bad ones. You know, I was thinking, you know, maybe you could have done this like that. You know, maybe this was a little bit better. So then eventually I went for my pro license and made the decision to become a manager myself. And then I became a manager first. I did the under 23s at Ajax. They're in the professional league in Holland as well, the second league. So did them 2 years. Then I went, of course, to Redden. Still working with players, which I always said, you know, I don't want to work with young players or with players who are always complaining. But then I came to an understanding for myself as well, that I find it really nice to work with players and to improve them, because as a former player, and then as a manager, I felt and I saw as well that I can make players better. So they perform better, things become easier for them, by giving them, handing out certain details, and the team then will perform better as well. And that's why I went into management. And it was, for me, it's still a very nice and a very good job to do. Ajax was good, Pek Zwolle was good as manager, Reading was good. Then I went back to Pek Zwolle as I was an assistant manager in the beginning of my career as a manager. Then I came back after Reading to Pek Zwolle as a manager. Kept them up in the highest league, and then I went to Feyenoord because they bought me from Pek Zwolle at that time. And from there on at Feyenoord, it was a mess in that club. So after 5 or 6 months, I said, this is not me, because the people that I had the conversations with about what to do with the club, they left the club already in pre-season. So then, with other people stepping in, different opinions, different choices, I said, well, that's me done here. I'm quitting. So I left them, went to America, stayed there for almost 2 seasons, and now I'm doing a lot of television work. But management is good and it's nice, but you need to. It depends on the people that you're working with, because you need to be with your technical manager and directors. You need to be on the same level as well in what you want to achieve. People need to back you up, and people need to be honest to you as well when you're a manager in what they can do. And even when they promise a lot in the beginning and they can't do it, they still need to be honest and say why they can't do things, because then as a manager it becomes a little bit easier. Yeah. And it becomes easier to explain it to the outside world as well.
Just moving on a little bit, what advice would you give to your younger self now, when you look at the journey you've come on and you're talking to that young man at the beginning of his career? What advice would you give him?
Enjoy a little bit more. Yeah. The Sir Alex was always saying, before every game we went out, he was always saying, he was standing in the door, he was saying, enjoy.
Yeah.
And then you say, thanks. But when you're out there, you're running like hell, you're doing your stuff. Sometimes you forget to enjoy. And that's why I tell my boys as well when they're playing football. And I tell them as well, enjoy football, and show them what you can do, but enjoy for yourself as well as an individual, because you know what you can do. And you can do very well. So that's what you need to take with you as well. And for me as a player, because I was always, especially in the beginning in my career, when I went to a different team, there was always in the beginning people were a little bit skeptical, because there's always a big load of money needed to be paid for me to go to a club. And then in the beginning they say, yeah, but why do we need this guy? Because he came from a little farmer's village, and then is he going to make us better? And I always wanted to prove them wrong, and always had the pressure. Well, pressure, I felt it was pressure, and maybe you're doing it yourself. So always improve and prove everybody wrong that you can handle that level of football, that you can do well. And that's why towards the end of my career, that's why I always felt that I needed to perform well. And it's a thing that brought me to that level as well, to the highest level in the world of football. But sometimes you can enjoy a little bit more as well. Yeah, I always find it strange that people that I've played with, or players that I've played with, they had a shitty game or whatever, and they walk out of the dressing room and they're like, yeah, what are you doing? Tonight I'm going to go and have a nice meal and I'm going to do this. And the next day they're laughing and making jokes, and I'm like, how is that possible? How can you act like that after a game like that? Yeah. I've never seen that. And for myself, it was like the total opposite. Played bad. I was, for myself, not allowed to have fun. That's how I thought about it. I was allowed to have fun after the next game when I've done well. So it's not only for myself, but also for my family at times. It was hard to handle, hard to tell you, because my wife was saying, when we went out, she was saying, where are you? I said, I'm here. No, you're not here. With your head, you're like thinking, I'm talking to you, but you're not responding. Yeah. No, because you're thinking about what you need to do already, like in 2 or 3 days.
You're stranded on an island, and you've got the opportunity to have 3 people with you. Any 3 people in the world, any 3 people in history, who would you have with you and why?
Well, one's my wife. No, but I'm saying that because we met up when we were 16.
Wow.
And we're still together. And she, in the beginning, she didn't know anything about football, but she grew into the world of football together with me, and that's what I like. So she was just there for me. So she supported me in everything that I've done, helped me out in everything done. At the end of the day, we got 4 kids. We didn't have a nanny or whatever at home, whatever. She did everything alone, being in different countries alone with 4 kids by themselves, arranging everything for me and for the kids, and we're always having fun. Still have. So it's so she's without a doubt, she's there. And the second one too, you said,
3 in total.
3 in total with me.
Yeah, with
inclusive with me.
Got 2 more with your wife.
Oh, 2 more. That's probably that's a hard one. I would say my parents. But I don't know if my wife is agreeing with that. No, they get along very well, but you know how it is. I've got 3 older sisters, and I was like the smallest one from the family. So I had like 4 mums.
Yeah.
So when my wife came over in the beginning, I was little Jacob, little Yappy. Yeah. They said, so I would get spoiled, but with my parents, of course, as well. It's like they were very important to me. My dad passed away when I think when I was 72, very young. So I think those 3.
If you were in a film, or if there was a film to be made about you, who would play?
Like me?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a hard one.
Bruce Willis?
Bruce Willis came.
Would you take that?
Statham, is he?
Oh yeah, Jason Statham.
Jason? Yeah.
Well, that's 2 good choices. Yeah.
I think those are 2 good choices, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a difficult one to say about yourself, isn't it? To mention somebody who can fill. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, luckily for me, there's never going to be a film made about me.
Never say never.
No, that's true.
Yep, I've got a few quick fire questions for you. Let's see, how you choose on these. It's this or that. So we'll start with an easy one.
Yeah.
Ronaldo or Messi?
Messi.
Why?
Because I think Messi has got a little bit of different qualities. Without a doubt, a lot of respect for both. Also for Ronaldo and what he's done in his career and still is producing, scoring goals, the attitude, the physicality, this in his head, mentality, very important. But I think Messi has got that as well. The only thing is with Messi, he's got a little bit more, in the way of playing football and creating and dribbling. That makes him a bit more special, I think, than Ronaldo for me. But I like both of them. But Messi is the player that I'm going to go for.
Erling Haaland or Kylian Mbappe?
That is a difficult one, to be honest. I go for Haaland at this time because I think he's just a scoring machine. Of course, you need to have the players around you to give you the opportunities as well. But what he's been doing, and not only now but in Dortmund as well, but and his mentality and his mindset in going for goals, I think it's unbelievable. His physique, his pace is incredible. Makes him a danger, a threat for every defense. And always producing and always showing that eager to score. That's what a striker needs. And at this level, knowing that it's going to be difficult for you every season because everybody is going to take extra attention to you every season again and every game, but still producing is very good. Mbappe I like very much his qualities, but the thing is, he needs to do it. Also, of course, very constantly throughout a longer period, but also in a stronger league.
Last one, Alan Shearer or Andy Cole?
No, that's also a difficult one. They're not the easiest one. I like both of them very much. Shearer, he's a pain playing against. Especially when these long balls from the goalie comes and he comes from the sides. You don't see him coming and he's jumping into you, with his elbows as well. He's making that clash. Difficult guy to mark as well. Great goal scorer, great player as well. But I need to go for Andy, because I like Andy very much as a person. But also as a player, was a great player to play with. Great ability, very fast. In my opinion, a bit underrated, is it? I think if you compare him to other big players, even now and in the past, big goal scorers, then I think Andy is up there as well. Unbelievable player.
Jaap Stam, the time has absolutely flown. We've overrun a little bit. However, on behalf of Superstar Speakers and of course the Nag's Head, with all the building work going on, and Sean Brett, thank you for looking after us.
It's a pleasure.
Thanks for joining us. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Remember to tune in to the Man United Legends podcast on a weekly basis. Click the link below and subscribe to our channel.